boys and girls and parents watching. Welcome for another and the last of our Ranger series for this summer. This is called Birds of a Feather, and it is of course about birds here at Cromwell Valley. This place is known for birds, so we're going to really spend some time looking in these different habitats and looking at different animals. The other thing is that why look at birds? Well, we know that in the United States there's like some 52 million people that feed birds, and people don't feed them because birds need to be fed, because they really don't, but we feed them so that we can see them. We can see them up close, and that's a-okay. And so for you, there's some basic tools that you might want to have before you go out and do that. One would be, my recommendation would be a Peterson Field Guide to Birds, and that is a really good book. It's peer approved. This has been around for a half century or more, and it's been added to and enlarged, but it's definitely a great thing to have. And field guides are arranged the most primitive birds to the most advanced birds, meaning birds like loons that are very dinosaur-like, you might say, and have feet way in the back, are more primitive than like a chipping sparrow, which we have here. But by the way, loons can be found here at Cromwell, at least passing overhead, because the park touches Loch Raven Reservoir. Another thing you might want to have is a pair of binoculars. You don't need them. You could certainly use your eyes, but some of the things you need to remember are to set up your binoculars, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Another reason to be here, you could start your adventure right here at the Nature Center, because see all the feeders that we have behind us. And we use black oil sunflower seed, which is a good all-around feed, and we have a suet feeder, and that's good. That has fat. That's what that means, suet, for birds such as woodpeckers and nuthatches, and many other birds will eat suet as well. And we have a hummingbird feeder, which we're going to talk about, and we're going to see some birds in action. Let's get to tuning binoculars. Anytime that you're visiting at Cromwell, you've got to come to Hawk Watch. And why do we call it Hawk Watch? Well, that's because this is sort of like a grassy knoll in the park as we spin the camera around so you can see. And this is the place to be if you are going to see lots and lots of hawks. Now, I know it's summertime right now, but really the time to come and visit here would be planned September and early October. And that's when thousands and thousands of birds are coming through this valley because of the warmth that rises on that ridge and the warmth on that. It creates all these uplifts and updrafts. And so hawks by the thousand travel through here. We also have, as we go over here, some silhouettes to give you an idea of how big some of these animals are. Here's a bald eagle silhouette right here, so you can see they kind of hold their wings like an ironing board when they're in flight. It's not unusual at all to see a bald eagle right here in the valley flying overhead. Also gives you a good indicator of what social distance you should be, about 6-foot wingspan right here. You can also see the red-tailed hawk, the American kestrel, and we have little descriptors so you can learn a little bit as well. But the thing you want to have is a pair of binoculars and to be watching the sky. As a matter of fact, there's a hawk up there right now sailing on the thermals. It just goes to show you. Alrighty, now, one of the things at Hawk Watch that you should have, if you can, is bring a pair of binoculars, of course a field guide to the birds, but you know, binoculars need to be adjusted to you as a person. So one of the things you should do, if you wear glasses like I do, you should roll back these rubber cups like this. Just roll them back and they'll stay back normally. Well, let's use both hands here. There we go. There's one, there's two. So you do that. Then you need to adjust these to the right size of your face and where your eyes are looking. There we go. Another thing to do is one of these lenses is fixed and one of these is adjustable. And that's because everybody's eyes are a little bit different, even your own. You know, one eye might be stronger than the other. And this is a way of tuning your binoculars up. Usually you fix your binoculars on a certain point. So I'm going to aim mine at that feeder down there. And then I'm going to use this middle bar here to get the picture pretty clear. All right. Now I've done that. Now I'm going to close my left eye because it's blurry in this side here. And so you can adjust this. This turns, see that? It turns. So I'm going to put it back on the feeder, and now I'm going to open just my right eye, and now when I get that clear picture, guess what? These binoculars are now tuned to me and to my eyes with glasses on. Now if I take my glasses off, I'd have to use this center knob to readjust. And that's how you do it. So you fix it on an object a little ways from you, and then you get the field of view in here. Now these are 7 power. They say 7 by 35. That means this is the millimeters, 35, and 7 means it's the image is 7 times larger than what you're seeing with your normal eyes. And that's what you want to do. You can catch birds with your eyes and your ears. We were just hearing a towhee calling. That's a cicada singing. But using your ears is a good way to learn about birds as well. I would belong to the Baltimore Bird Club, the Chesapeake Audubon Society, Maryland Partners in Flight. All of these groups are found online, and they're great ways to learn about birds. All right, you know, there are many different kinds of habitats for birds in the park, but did you know that a barn could be a habitat? It sure can. Man-made structures can always be something that a bird might like to build a nest at. And if we look up here, you'll see right there, look at that mud nest made out of clay. So the mother bird scoops up mud in her mouth and basically spits it into these little wads like that. Let's go inside the barn. I think we have a surprise for you. So inside the barn, I happen to have an old one that fell off the wall, and you can see all these little wads of mud. And that's an amazing thing for a bird to be able to do, to just scoop up mud in its mouth, come over here. It doesn't have hands or arms or legs. Well, it does have legs. And then to glue these all together, and then they put their eggs right in this little cup. But you know, it's only a half a cup because it was attached to the wall. You know, that's pretty neat. Let's go over here and we'll take a look at one that's up on the ceiling. Now this one, when you look right here, you know, that's bird droppings, which means somebody has been working hard in the same place because that's where their poop has been dropping. And sure enough, it's this nest right up here. And I'm going to gently, oh, look at the surprise we have here. You shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it so you guys can see it. There is a barn swallow egg. Isn't that cool? Now, there's the old myth of touching the egg and the mother won't come back. That's not true. Most birds have a very, very poor sense of smell. It's usually if you're around the nest too much, and the disruption could make a bird take off. So we're going to put that right back where we got it, and they'll come back and they'll continue to lay eggs until they have their full clutch. That means all the eggs. All right, boys and girls, I tell you, if you're visiting Cromwell Valley Park, you're going to want to clap your eyes on one of these feeders. This is a nectar feeder for our friends, the ruby-throated hummingbird. We have sometimes the rufous hummingbird in the area, but most of these are going to be the ruby-throated. And this is the place to be, because if you want to see some really neat behavior and see how they fly, you'll want to be next to this. The ruby-throated hummingbird is our most common hummingbird, and as you can see here, they can fly backwards and forwards, even slowed down. It looks like their wings are just beating like normal birds, but in reality, what you're seeing are their wings beat 50 times a second, which is just unbelievable. And this little tiny bird is capable of flying completely across the Gulf of Mexico, which they do, many of them do, on their journeys south for the winter. That's an amazing feat for such a tiny little dynamo, which is why their diet is made up of nectar, which we're providing them here. But they also eat a lot of insects, which most folks don't know unless you watch them carefully. An amazing animal. Boys and girls, how big is a ruby-throated hummingbird? Well, they're pretty doggone small, because look what I have here. That is a nest. They're amazing animals, they really are. And they have a relationship with other living things, which are amazing. One is spiders, lichens, which is a plant, and a fungus working together, and ferns. What are those relationships? Well, the hummingbird goes out, it gathers up spider webs, which it uses to tie together the fuzz from cinnamon ferns. And then it attaches lichens like camouflage to it. And then imagine how tiny those eggs must be inside of this. That's an amazing animal. A lot of you may not realize that Cromwell Valley Park extends all the way to the Gunpowder River. And for birding, well, look what you can see when you're down here. We have Canada geese that are year-round residents. There are migratory ones, but we have a variety of birds that you're likely to spot when you're down here. I use the water. The habitat is different such that there's submerged aquatic vegetation, and the small shrimp-like crustaceans that are in there are a feast for these Canada geese. But there's many other kinds of waterfowl too. Let's find one. You can literally find things like loons at the right time of year when they're migrating through, or in this case, mallard ducks that you're likely to spot down there. I can't guarantee you'll be able to catch one. This is actually from our nature center. Wacky. But you can see how she's brown. She looks a lot like the vegetation around here, and a wild duck would build her nest right on the ground, and these, especially in these thick grasses. This is perfect habitat for mallard ducks, and that's what she is. She's a female mallard. But you can see mergansers, you can see ruddy ducks, you can see all manner of waterfowl, and I encourage you to come on your trip here to the park and explore this beautiful area. Ranger Kirk here to show you how to make something that you will like. And you'll like it because it'll be to attract birds like these feeders behind me. Do you need to spend $100 at the World Wild Bird Center? No! All you need is one of these kind of containers. If you drank your silk milk, or if you're drinking oat milk, or if you're just drinking milk, as long as it's one of these cardboard containers. You'll need an awl and a knife and a couple of twigs I just picked up off the ground. I'm going to poke a hole right through here. It's easy because it's just cardboard. Through here, poke one inside there, turn it around, try to get it about the same height, poke it through there, okay? And then you could do two things. You could have some string, you could have some wire. I'm going to use a piece of this string, and this is so that you can tie this up to a branch in your yard, and you could make it, or you could make it like this, a loop, if you had something else to hang it on. And then we're going to use our knife very carefully. I'm just going to cut a window pane into this, just like that. You don't have to really worry. The birds don't care how neat you are with this. It's real easy. See that? Look at that. We've made a window. And you can make sure you got all your stuff out of it. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, when you're doing this, I should point out, see how we've left about this much of the box? That's so we can put bird seed in there. So let's keep cutting this out. Really only takes a minute or two. A few seconds, really. There we go. And then I have picked up 2 sticks that I trimmed. I'm going to put them in those other hole that I poked in the box. Now you got something for the bird to perch on. That's pretty doggone neat. That's really neat. And if you wanted to, you could make 2 more windows, and then you could take this stick and do the same thing. As a matter of fact, I think I will. So I'm going to poke a hole here, go to the other side. I know it's about the same height. Poke a hole in. I'm going to stick my stick in. Got to support it a little bit. Look at that. That is neato torpedo. You've made your own bird feeder. Then we just add some oil sunflower seed to it. I'm spilling some, but that's all right. The birds will clean it up. And there it is, ready to be put up. I'll bet you I could hang this thing and get bird. Woo! There's a place right over there. Boys and girls, I'll tell you what, we had a fun time today. Don't forget to check out the PDFs that you can download at the end of this presentation. And don't forget, look at my friend here. This is Chirpy, the wild turkey poult. And you can see him or her, we don't know yet, if you come to visit at the Nature Center, because this is where they live. And look what there's, he's busy talker. Here, that's what she came out of. There's turkey egg right there. And we hatched these birds right here at the center. Yeah, and you can get a chance to see them. So definitely come out here and learn about birds. There's so much you can learn, so much fun you can have, and it's so easy to do.